morning everyone, welcome to day 152 in my Porsche Cayman, which I'm spending here today at Goodwood for the second GRRC Autosolo of 2021. The first was just over a month ago in April, and I've now got the final results and times. Starting with my class, which was rear-wheel drive cars with engines over 2 litres, this is the top 10 finishes in entrant number order. Here's how we all placed, and in final result order with the times. So I managed 4th in class, but I was way off the pace though. Now I've got the overall fastest times of the day. Again, here's the top 10 finishers in entrant number order. However, just a 9th overall for me and a solid 16 seconds behind Mr. Petrolped. Next is a quick cost update because there's been some expenditure of late, so I've got some rapid fire charts incoming. Mileage today is 61,493 and I've done almost 4,000 of those miles myself. Miles per gallon, my average is 24.3 so far. Here's my cost details showing a big jump in a couple of areas, and here you can see why. Lots spent on tyres and a little spent on brakes. No surprise on the brake spend if you've seen my last video. I lost the brakes completely 9 laps into the day on just the second session. Why so little spend on the brakes though? What was the cause? Well, a few commenters on my last video actually got it right. It wasn't the discs or the pads, they were still working. So long as I could get some proper pressure on the pads onto the discs, they were biting just fine, the retardation was there. It was simply the fluid boiling. Got some air in the lines and gave me the very long and very soft brake pedal. So why did it boil then? Well, there's 2 reasons I see for this. And the first is poor spec brake fluid. Now, it was fairly fresh. It was changed by the supplying dealer when I bought the car in December, just about 4,000 miles ago, but they will have put in nothing special at all, and it was always going to be susceptible to a bit of heat and likely to give up after a bit of a workout. And the second contributing reason to the reason for the fluid boiling is the pad material. The pads were worn to about 50% of their life prior to the track day, so there was far less material in the pads to absorb and dissipate the heat. As the pads currently stand, they still have enough material left for road use. Porsche say a minimum of 2mm, and I'll be doing my absolute best to use what's left of them here today. So the recent brake spend, the red section here, was simply the cost of some half decent brake fluid I had put in last week. After today, I'm back here in July for a full track day, so I will definitely need new pads and discs all round before then. But I will be fitting standard discs and pads. So to those that commented, I'm a fool for not upgrading my brakes before I go on track. Why is that? Why am I a fool? Well, we all have our opinions, and they're generally based on our education, our training, and our experiences. And here's a couple of short clips of my personal experiences of running standard brakes around here in cars far more powerful than this. I haven't had one hint of brake fade all day.
I was going to ask you actually, because it's all totally standard still, isn't it?
Absolutely, as it left the factory.
Which is mightily impressive, because you haven't exactly been A, poodling about, and B, giving it much between sessions.
No. I've just been trying to be smooth, and not once, apart from that little wiggle mid-corner that it did, not once has it really given me a problem. And also, because I'm not trying to brake in this like I did in my Focus RS, the brakes have been absolutely fine. I certainly don't need better pads or discs, and with fresh standard fluid, the pedal's been there all day for me, and it's consistent and it's firm and I have no issues. So my Ford Focus RS and my BMW M140i both managed a full day around here on standard pads, discs, lines and fluid. And not only that, but each time I did that, I set a new personal best around here. On both cars, the brakes, I say were fine, they were good enough. They survived. Actually, that's not entirely true. I did end up destroying the brakes on the Focus RS at the end of the day. But even so, generating enough heat for the pistons to start punching dents in the back of the pad backing plates. The fluid in that Ford, the standard fluid and the standard lines, still held up okay. So if Ford can do that, and if BMW can do that in their family hatchbacks, why on earth would I think that brakes on a car like this wouldn't be up to a bit of track work? And my theory is that speculatively upgrading anything could well turn out to be a speculative waste of money. I mean, until I know the failure point, what exactly is it that I'm fixing? Ooh. So I'm going to run standard brakes on this thing until I find a weak point, until I find a failure point. And once I find that weak or failure point, I'll either adapt my driving to cope with it or I'll fix it. And lastly, the other new spend showing here from last week, which was tyres. I thought I'd be okay with the Bridgestones the car came on until the track day here in July. They wore well and evenly over the Autosolo, and they wore well over the Bedford track day. Actually, they wore a bit less on the track day than they did on the Autosolo, but there was still plenty of tread depth remaining. However, a closer inspection revealed some quite significant cracking, and it turns out the tyres were all dated 2014. Yep, they were 7 years old. My tyres never last more than 6 months. 7 years old is shocking. So last week, and only about 130 miles ago, I had a brand new set of Michelin PS2s fitted. Why not something more exotic? Well, quite simply, if I only even do it just the once, I want to feel this car exactly as Porsche intended it to feel. And the PS2s, aside from the Bridgestone RE050s, are the only matching set of N-rated tyres that I can find for this car. Thoughts on them so far are that I've made a very good choice. On the road, they have transformed the car. It feels entirely different. And it may well end up having been a very good move timing-wise, because we're expecting some pretty torrential rain here. So good tread depth, fresh tyres, sharp tread block edges, good grip, fingers crossed. This does mean that on my last outing here, my results, and at the Bedford track day, my pace and my lap time comparison with my M140i are in no way representative of what this car is capable of. So I'm really looking forward to feeling what this car drives like under duress when I've got some proper rubber, proper grip and proper connection with the tarmac. That's it for this one. I need to go and get signed up, get set up, get everything out of the car, get ready for the briefing and the first course, which isn't for an hour or so. But yeah, it's got a fairly high workload this morning, so I need to get on with that. If you like this, please do give it the mandatory thumbs up, help me out. Subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to see how I get on today in the wet on a set of PS2s. And thank you very, very much for watching.